Our scientist for this week is Wade Campbell, an outdoor loving explorer who is building bridges between the past and the present. Wade loves biking, soccer, camping, global music, and sci fi and fantasy. He wants to know what was the historical relationship between the natives and the Spanish? What happens physically and culturally when two worlds collide? He studies archaeology. Archaeology is the study of human civilizations and the history through the analysis of found items and historic sites. Wade is finishing his PhD at Harvard University, where he teaches students and works on computers and other machines to analyze objects and materials. He also works outside on archaeological digs in places like the US, Peru, and West Africa. He currently studies the history of the American Southwest. By studying its records, lands, and artifacts, he can better understand how interactions between the Navajo, Spanish, and other groups that live there change the local culture, beliefs, and practices. It is important to him to build respectful, collaborative relationships with the people who this history belongs to so that people can come together to better understand the past. His path to science: exploring landscapes. Wade grew up in the Four Corners region of Arizona and New Mexico and is a member of the Navajo Nation. He is mixed race, Navajo and Anglo, and from a young age knew he didn't fit into a specific mold. He liked to explore and became very interested in the beautiful land he was living on and its history. Close to home. Through high school, he continued to explore. He didn't have a clear, explicit interest in science at the time, but was very curious. At 17 years old, he became a wood hauler. He would collect firewood and deliver it to people who needed it. It kept him active, which he loved, and always allowed him to further explore and connect with the landscape, seeing the world. Though he has close roots in the American Southwest, Wade wanted to explore beyond it. He decided to attend Yale in the Northeast and to pursue archaeological studies, given his interest in exploration, the land, and history. While pursuing his education, he worked in West Africa during a dangerous and violent time. Through his experience, he learned how archaeology and present day politics can interact. Coming full circle. After Yale, he returned to New Mexico. Though jobs are scarce in the Four Corners area, with seasonal work in cultural resource management one of the few options, Wade was determined to continue with archaeology. He applied for fellowships so that he could continue his education through graduate school and was awarded the 2015 Ford Foundation Pre-Doctoral Fellow, which allowed him to attend Harvard and continue his studies. Bringing it home. Throughout his work, Wade has found connections between his research in archaeology and the current public health and welfare issues, especially as they relate to the Navajo Nation and other tribal communities. After he completes his PhD, he plans to, as promised to his dad, bring back what he found, to work in the Southwest and rebuild lost trust between science and the Navajo nations. His advice: it isn't about being genius. There are very few geniuses. It isn't really a term we like to use in science because that's not what this is about. Most scientists I know are just very dedicated and hardworking. That's what it takes to make progress and do your job well. It takes persistence. It isn't always clear or easy to know what to do next. That's why it's so important that you keep trying. When you find something you care a lot about, you have to figure out what the different ways to approach it are. And then you have to learn whatever it is that's necessary to build a career in that. It takes time and dedication, and it doesn't always work out the first time. You just keep trying. Decide how you define success. There are so many different ways to define success, so it's important that you determine what that means for your life instead of using other people's definitions. It can be about building skills or helping to solve a problem or continue to grow and expand your perspective. And his final quote: if you want something, you can really only work at it. You keep on trying, and eventually things seem to unfold.